A place that was a secret for many years, attracting some of the brightest minds from around the world. We have a guard tower here.
34 square miles of laboratory. They are hiring a lot of new employees right now.
There's a tunnel that comes in from the bottom of the mesa, and at one time it had the entire nuclear arsenal of the United States in it.
It's like living in Big Bang Theory times 100.
It's important for national security.
Yep.
Absolutely important. If you were told not to talk about something, you did not talk about it.
You knew a lot of the scientists.
I knew all of them.
Oppenheimer's home. What's your take on the town?
It's an odd one.
It's one way in, one way out.
One of the wealthiest zip codes in New Mexico.
The more you learn, the more there is to know, and the more unknowns there are.
You don't understand the significant things that are happening here.
Once the genie is out of the bottle, it's not like you can just forget what has been created.
Good morning, guys. Here in the high mountains of New Mexico, a place that was once a classified secret, a place that attracted some of the brightest scientists from around the world to create the most dangerous weapon, Los Alamos. Now, most of us don't know, me included, that the place didn't get decommissioned. It's actually grown since those times. There are more scientists here now. And even though it's open, anyone can drive here, it's still somewhat unknown. There's not much information about it. So today we have the great fortune to meet up with a local who said she can bring us around, give us as much access as possible so we can get a better understanding of what this fascinating corner of the country is like. Let's do this. Looks like it's the old main gate. Passes must be presented to guards. I don't know if that's the original, but I'm guessing so. You can see we have a guard tower here. Not long ago, guys, completely isolated, removed. We're gonna get into it today, but I was reading there was one P.O. box in Santa Fe, the next town over, and all the mail went there. Like, so even the postmaster, I'm sure the inside knew, but the majority didn't know this existed. A big question I have, we're gonna learn today through Liz, the woman we're meeting up with. How do you keep this such a secret? I mean, you're gonna see vehicles going in this direction, obviously construction activity, and they got a little airport here, it looks like. So planes were flying in.
We are standing on the town side of Los Alamos on one of our many, many walking trails. But across the canyon, you can see the laboratory. So this is Lance, it's a particle accelerator.
You guys are hiring 10,500 employees, roughly?
They are hiring a lot of new employees right now, yes.
So it's thriving, Liz.
Thriving.
And then the lab, we can't really see, but a little bit over the tree line, that's all lab up there, right?
Yes, you're not supposed to be filming there. That's laboratory property. No filming on laboratory property.
Right, but from here it's okay, right? And then I can do some aerial shots of it, you know, from Google.
Yes,
but it's
so
huge.
It takes up several mesas.
Several
to the
mesas.
south, yes. These little houses were fabricated after the war. They were shipped in. When they realized that the laboratory was not going away, they knew they needed to build more housing. This is a loose-drawn house that were advertised that they could build this house in 3 days. And when I first moved here, I lived in one of these houses. Mm-hmm. They are completely made of metal. You can see the outside is metal, the inside is metal too. So the walls, if you want to hang something on your wall in a Lutron house, you can hang it with magnets.
For fire? Is that why they're metal?
No, it's just, I think it was an easy material to ship and to prefabricate houses. We're talking 1949. The original design, the washing machine was also a dishwasher. Mm-hmm.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Come on.
The washing machine was also your dishwasher, so it was a multi-purpose house. Yeah.
Okay, Liz, so my question, or what first came to mind coming up here, this was secretive. Yes. Nobody knew about it, supposedly.
Right.
But wouldn't you see cars going up here, building materials going up here? just activity.
Of course.
So down at the base, they'd be like, what's going on up on the mountain there?
Right. So 109 East Palace in Santa Fe
Yeah.
is where the scientists would check in, and then they would be brought up to Los Alamos.
Did they fly in at that time, or that was before
No,
the airport?
That was before the airport, and some of the roads were dirt and surrounded by a fence. Actually, they brought in military from Fort Riley, Kansas to patrol. They were busing people up from Pojoaque and Espanola to help work up here as housekeepers. So people knew Los Alamos was here. The locals knew Los Alamos was here. And there's some indication that they had an idea that it was for a military project.
But they couldn't even imagine a nuclear bomb at that time because it was something that
So
didn't
new,
exist.
so different.
Yeah.
That they really didn't know. Now there are some stories. There is a story about one of the scientists driving through southern Colorado and stopping at a gas station and saying, oh, I'm headed to northern New Mexico. And someone at the gas station said, oh, are you working on that secret bomb project?
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
if that's a true story or not, I don't know. But I think people did have an indication, but it's also World War II. They wanted to do anything they could to end the war. And so people had a different opinion, and people were quiet. When they were told not to talk about it, they didn't. I don't know if people are that way nowadays. I think people are a little more willing to talk about things. But during World War II, if you were told not to talk about something, you did not talk about it. So my neighbor, who's 96, worked after the war here in Los Alamos. And she'll even tell me to this day, I can't talk about it.
Okay, she's been conditioned.
I can't talk about it. And I'm like, yes, you can, Rita. You can talk about it now. But she will not. She's 96 years old.
Okay, but say I want to talk to one of these lab workers here right now on the streets. They're not going to talk about their work over there, are they? Can they?
They will not. Most of them will not talk about that.
So it still has a feeling of that secretiveness.
There is definitely a need to know. So
Okay.
if you don't need to know what's
Yeah.
going on over there,
Okay.
now the Bradbury Science Museum does tell some of the work that is going on at the laboratory.
Okay. They're not still working on nuclear bombs, are they?
So if you imagine you have a car, you haven't driven the car in 30 years and it's been sitting. Will it work? If you want to turn the key, will it drive? A nuclear bomb is a little bit like that. So every year, the director of Los Alamos National Laboratory has to tell the president whether these nuclear weapons will work if necessary, if they need them.
Are they stored up here? Okay, gotcha. But they need to be maintained. They
You
need,
need
just
to
like an old
maintain them,
car.
just like an old car.
You can't
If-
let the gas sit in the tank forever.
If the president said, I think we need to drop a nuclear bomb, would it work?
And you need to be
And
like
you
that.
need to know whether it's going to work or not. So there's work at the laboratory that is looking at parts of bombs, so they can test, like, if you imagine testing part of the car.
Okay.
I'm going to see if I turn it, will it start? That's the first part, right, if you're going to drive a car. So nuclear weapons are a little bit the same way. You can work on the different parts of the nuclear weapon to make sure that if necessary, you hope it's going to work as intended. This is our local shopping center, built after the war. They decided Los Alamos was going to stay a town, and we needed some services.
Okay.
So this shopping center housed things like a bank, clothing stores, all kinds of things. It's still a shopping center.
Bookstore.
Oh, you've got to see over there, Space Nukes.
Space nukes, what's that?
People don't realize, but some nuclear weapons were actually recycled and power a lot of our space probes. If we used solar power, you get too far away from the sun, solar power doesn't work. Nuclear power is a much more stable way to power your space probes, and I believe Space Nukes works on those systems.
Okay.
But yeah, where else in the world can you see Space Nukes?
I haven't seen
as
it
a building in a
first time.
right. A lot of people don't realize that Los Alamos has actually been here a long time. Originally, it was inhabited by ancestral Pueblo people.
Yeah.
Later, homesteaders came, then the ranch school. The ranch school is who built this building. This is Fuller Lodge. It's probably one of the reasons the Manhattan Project ended up here, because they were looking for a location that had at least some infrastructure, could be defended, wasn't next to the coast, was accessible, close to a railroad. So when the military moved in, they purchased all of the buildings that were part of the ranch school.
It just occurred to me, this is sort of a company town in a way. But instead of mining, right?
We're doing science.
All the housing was company housing, as in US government housing.
It was a military post.
Yeah.
Right, so all the housing was owned by the military. They actually told you where to live based on your rank in the organization and the number of people in your family. You were assigned housing.
Okay, and then if you no longer worked here, you had to leave, right?
Absolutely.
Because they need that house for someone that can work here.
That's right. Everything was paid in cash. The scientists were not allowed to open a bank account in Santa Fe because they didn't want people to know where they were.
It's a lot of cash just flowing around this place.
It changed the economy of northern New Mexico, which continues to have an impact today.
Well, this is one of the wealthiest zip codes in New Mexico.
Right. So even today, a lot of people commute to Los Alamos. Los Alamos infuses a lot of money into northern New Mexico just through employment. This is Bathtub Row.
Bathtub Row.
Yes, all of the construction that came with the Manhattan Project, all of the housing did not have bathtubs. Bathtubs were in short supply during World War II, so they had showers. Bathtub Row kind of got this jealous name. One of the wives said, "Oh, you live on Bathtub Row," and the name stuck. So these were where all the famous scientists live. It's going to introduce you to Oppenheimer and Groves.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer was in charge of the scientific work here at Los Alamos National Laboratory, the first director of the laboratory, and General Groves ran the whole Manhattan Project.
And they had an interesting relationship.
They had a very interesting
I only know from
relationship.
watching the movie.
They are totally opposite. General Groves is a rule maker,
Yep.
rule follower.
Yep.
You do what he says. There's no discussion. I make the rules, you follow the rules. Oppenheimer, on the other hand, wanted a laboratory where the scientists could talk to each other. They could communicate. They would listen to each other. It's a very different leadership style. These two were very opposite. But instead of arguing, I mean, they had their disagreements, but they were very respectful of each other's opinion. And I think that's really what made this project work, is we had two people, very different ideas of how the project should go, but they came together
Yep.
to figure out how to make it work.
There was a mission, a unified mission.
Unified mission.
You needed weight on both sides of the wings of the plane
Yes.
to make that thing fly.
It wasn't just one way.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
compromise.
Yes.
I think this is a good lesson for us today.
Right.
is that we can compromise.
Sure.
And it's a good way to get things
You got to
done.
have different points of view.
These are the two men who did it. General Groves did not live here, so when he visited, he stayed in this building, and it is the guest cottage. It was a private school for boys. Most of them came from the East Coast. The idea was that they were going to send them out west and toughen them up. Wealthy people funded the building of the ranch school.
Okay, so if you had money back east, your kid's getting a little spoiled, you're like, out to New Mexico. We're going to toughen them up.
Toughen them up.
Cut down some logs.
So in the morning, they would have traditional education, traditional subjects. In the afternoon, it was all about riding horses, trail building, hunting. If you had a gun, you were allowed to bring it to school, because the idea is that you are doing outdoor activities. They are responsible for building a lot of our trails. Hiking trails were built by Los Alamos Ranch School. Here's this pond, and
Yep.
here's Fuller Lodge.
That's where we started.
This is the laboratory.
All of that.
All of this. How many square miles is the laboratory?
34.
34 square miles of laboratory. And
Okay,
then
so this over
side is
he-
the town.
This is the town over here too. Okay. And how many people are living here altogether?
18,000, 20,000 in the county.
18
In the
to
county?
20,000 in the county, about 17,000 work at the lab, is that correct?
17,000 at the lab.
I work today. They have 6,000 to 7,000 cars come up every day. They drive down every afternoon. So, yeah. It's a lot of commuters because we're built out. We're surrounded by the laboratory or the National Forest land or parkland
You can't go any more here.
or the local pueblos.
So when the scientists first arrived for the Manhattan Project, they would check in Santa Fe at 109 East Palace. And from there, they would be driven up. So they didn't know where they were going. They just knew they were checking in Santa Fe. And from there, they went into the desert. And actually, people don't know this, but this is 109 East Palace is where the scientists checked in. The military checked in at 109 West Palace. And there is a little plaque at 109 West Palace that says it was part of the Manhattan Project.
So if you're a scientist, say you were working in DC or New York or somewhere, right? You get this assignment. They're like, here's an offer for you. We're going to pay X amount of dollars. We're not going to really tell you where you're going or what you're doing exactly. And then they're going to, well, they didn't even tell them at that point. They didn't
right.
know where they were going. And
They
all of a
didn't
sudden
know
they
what they
find
were
themselves
doing.
here.
They just knew
That's
that they were
wild.
headed to a secret war project.
And so they went through the door in Santa Fe, and then they're going up this road here,
That's right.
saying to themselves, what is going
And then
on?
once you arrived in Santa Fe and you went through the guard gate, you had to have a pass to leave. You couldn't just say, oh, I think I'm going to drive down to Santa Fe today. No, no, no. You had to have a pass to leave the property.
So when they came out here, did they know how long they'd be here for?
They really didn't.
Okay.
They really did not realize.
So it was like a patriotic duty.
It was a patriotic.
Like, we're in World War II, we need to win this thing. We're gonna send you out to the unknown.
You have skills, we need your skills.
You and the fam are going out.
Yes. Now, some of them, one of the families who lived in one of those houses down there, and he and his wife and children came out, they didn't last very long because they were like, no way, we are not staying here. It's dirt roads, there's nothing here, there's
Yeah.
no town. You're surrounded by a fence. This is just not, we're not staying. And so some of those families did not stay. But families were allowed to stay, which was an interesting prospect. And there's not much to do up here. So of course you had a lot of very young people and not a lot of things to do. There were a lot of babies born during the Manhattan Project.
A lot of infidelity too, perhaps. A lot of parties.
A lot of parties.
Oppenheimer had them,
Here
right?
is, this is an example of one of the homestead cabins. So when the government moved in, they sent a letter to Fuller Lodge and to all of the homesteads and basically said, your land is being taken over by the government, leave. The ranch school received their letter in December. They worked to allow the kids to finish up some of their work. So the boys who were scheduled to graduate in May graduated early. And then the government moved in the spring and took over. So all the homesteads that were here, 36 homesteads, moved off their property.
They got paid, right?
There's a very big discrepancy between what the Hispanic homesteaders were paid compared to Fuller Lodge and the ranch school. Later, there was a lawsuit that tried to even out some of those, but there's still, this is the original site of this pueblo, so we know that people have been on this mesa for thousands of years.
So how'd you end up on this mesa? What brought you out?
Well, I was a traveling spouse for a Lanel employee. I was a school teacher for a while. I guess I liked the green chili and the weather, so I decided to stay.
So your husband was a scientist?
Yes.
Okay, so what were your first impressions? Were you one of those families that were like, oh, get me out of here, or did you fall in love with it?
I fell in love with Los Alamos. I just love the history. I love the community that's here. We have a very collaborative community. So we are headed to Oppenheimer's house. Oppenheimer really had his choice of houses. We know Oppenheimer had parties. There was no place to really socialize
Okay.
in Los Alamos, and so a lot of the socialization happened in places like this. So Oppenheimer would have his own parties here. It has a large living room and a high ceiling, and I think it's probably why he chose this house.
Yep, high ceiling there. Nice place, nice wooden floors. It's just so crazy to think not that long ago, really, the nuclear bomb was being created in minds and then physically in the world from this place.
Whole new technologies had to be developed to develop the bomb. It wasn't just, I think people have this idea that it's just, oh, it's just one thing, but it actually, in order to do that one thing, they had to develop whole new systems. There was learning that had to take place. There were experiments that had to take place to get to the point of a nuclear bomb.
So cut me off where you want, obviously. But is it a challenge, like almost a moral challenge of, we're gonna win the war, and this is what we have to do to win the war?
Yeah.
And then there's the other of, we're creating something that could lead to the destruction of the world at some point in time in the future. Who knows when?
Who knows where it will go, right?
Who knows where it will go? They definitely didn't. It was new, experimental. And how do you square that? Or it's individual probably, depending on the person you talk to, like anything, right? Like, how would you square that? Like the success, the community, the optimism too, that comes from it, but also the devastation and the pain and the suffering.
So I think a lot of the scientists who signed on to this project were patriotic.
Yeah.
And it was about winning the war. And it was also about new science. This is brand new science.
Right.
And I think that inspired a lot of scientists who really love the idea of new, innovative learning, right? Like figuring out
This is
what's
your,
new.
if that's your wheelhouse,
That's your
science, this is the cutting edge,
This is
like where you
the
need to be.
newest
It's San Francisco for
development.
tech.
Yes. And I think many of them were very caught up in that.
Yeah.
And Oppenheimer, I mean, if you saw the movie, even after the war, some people wanted to build bigger bombs. Right?
He struggled.
Oppenheimer struggled with that, and Oppenheimer and a lot of other scientists also left the laboratory after the war, chose not to participate in that. Others stayed, and it was definitely a personal choice, right? Whether you morally want to work on that technology or not. However, once the genie is out of the bottle and we have nuclear weapons, I think it's really important that we understand that technology, we understand where it's going, and that's why the laboratory today is still so important, because it's not like you can just forget what has been created.
You need to maintain it.
You need to maintain it, and you have a responsibility, I think. We have a responsibility for ensuring that our nuclear weapons are safe, secure, and can be used if necessary. I mean, that's a whole issue, right? So the president is really the one who makes that decision.
Right.
And so when you vote, it's important who you're voting for, because they are the ones making those decisions about whether we use a nuclear
Isn't that
weapon
wild?
or not.
Imagine
And,
that.
You know, we've not used a nuclear weapon since.
And no one has.
No one has. So that's a success in that we have been able to use it as a deterrence, safety, national security, and deterrence. Nuclear weapons during the Cold War shrunk in size to the size of a backpack.
There's one in here.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
Good. Come on in.
Well, Bill is one of the best docents you could ask for. So
And he's a
he
volunteer.
knows stuff.
Yes.
You're
He's a
doing this.
volunteer.
Okay.
I'm also a volunteer when they open up the VC again. Right now we're shut down.
The
National History.
National Historic Park is closed because of the government shutdown. He also volunteers there, so he knows all kinds of great information.
Okay. So, Bill, we're making a video today, Liz and I, about Los Alamos.
All right.
It's a part of a New Mexico series. New Mexico, there's no easy one label to the place, like any state really, but New Mexico is really mixed up. And this place is
We've got ages of culture. Yeah.
ages of culture, and this is like an island feeling up here. That's how I feel.
Well, a lot of people describe this as the largest cul-de-sac in the country. It's on a road to nowhere.
How long have you been here?
Close to 40 years now.
Okay, and is it one of those, if you're in that long, it's hard to leave?
Sure. Yeah. There's I have everything that I need here.
And are you a science geek?
Yeah. Well, I worked at the laboratory for
Okay.
30 years, so I'm retired now.
Okay.
So this is a great little video. You can find this video online. It shows the year up here, and you will see where nuclear tests have occurred.
Pakistan?
And it will
India.
show you down here the country and
India,
how
yeah.
many tests have been done. So you're seeing,
Yeah.
but if you wait for, here's the Cold War, and you can just see nuclear testing happening rapidly.
And this is the backpack.
Oh, this is the backpack.
This is designed as a demolition weapon.
Okay.
So think bridges, think dams, structures that you want to take out with a tactical weapon. So this was a tactical weapon. Basically, you would, somebody would carry it on their back. It was a one-man portable design, and you would basically put it where you needed, where you wanted to
Take
go
out a
off,
bridge.
and then run like.
Why do you think we haven't seen much of that in the world? Nuclear, tactical nukes of this size.
Well, world leaders have threatened to use them very recently.
Yeah, sure.
But we no longer have tactical nuclear weapons in our stockpile.
We don't.
We do not.
So I asked Bill a question. I won't say what it was.
Yeah.
He was being very nice, but he couldn't answer.
Yes.
And there's certain things you just cannot say here, right?
That's right.
And that's what
That's
goes with the territory.
That's right. So when you work at the laboratory, it's on a need-to-know basis, and there are a lot of things you don't talk about that
Okay.
you're working on.
Yep.
Even when you go home in the evening, you're not telling your family, your wife, what you're working on.
That's tough, isn't it?
So there's a whole secrecy surrounding the work at the laboratory, and that secrecy kind of flows into the town.
Oh.
And the town itself sometimes likes to keep things quiet. So sometimes things like accessing mental health services is not popular because people don't want to talk about their personal life, right? They don't want to discuss these things.
And they can't. They might not be able to.
So that's a whole issue that
That's
Los Alamos has.
interesting.
The idea of secrecy, it's important for national security.
Yep.
Absolutely important. We have to have secrecy for national security. However, that does impact individuals, families, and the community at large.
So Liz, that's tough because, okay, for example, my day today, I'm shooting a video.
Yeah.
If I couldn't tell my wife at the end of the day what I did today, that's
What does that
tough.
do to your relationship, right?
That's tough, right? You want to share, especially these scientists.
And they're doing amazing work.
And I'm sure they love their work. Many of them love their work. They're doing very innovative things. They're excited.
Yeah.
And then they can't share. That's like me coming up to a cool story and tight-lipped with my wife. That would be brutal. Brutal. Wow, never thought of that. So that sort of permeates all through town to some degree. There's sort
I
of this.
believe so, yes.
There's this code, but also I bet an
There's a code.
understanding where everyone sort
You
of
don't
gets
ask,
it.
right?
But everyone's in the same situation with that.
That's right.
Okay.
So there's some aspect of, well, they're just things we don't talk about. Welcome to Bathtub Row Brewing.
Oh, nice.
I told you that we're very collaborative here, and this community is built on the idea that if you want something done, you figure out how to do it yourself. And this brew pub is a brew co-op. It was started by a cooperative of people who got together and said, we need a bar. We want a bar in this town.
Yeah.
And so they put together Bathtub Row Brewing, of course named after Bathtub Row, We have a special Oppenheimer IPA. Maybe you're interested in that today.
You know, Liz, I hate to be a buzzkill. I stopped
Oh,
drinking.
there you go.
But I can go NA.
If you stay till about 4 or 5 o'clock today, this beer co-op will be a hoppin' place because the lab works, a lot of the employees work on a 980 schedule. They have every other Friday off. And so Thursday is like a Friday around here, and this will be a busy, busy place.
Get the fire pits going.
Fire pit going. People from around the world.
Right.
People from all different places in the United States, all in Los Alamos because they're here for a job, but they have all these experiences, all these cultural experiences, and they bring all of that with them.
Right.
So in that way, I love Los Alamos, the diversity that's here. Some people will say it's not diverse because we don't have a large Hispanic population.
Okay.
But it is diverse in that we have people from all over the world.
They're coming
who are
from
working
Europe,
at the lab.
Asia, everywhere?
Yes.
Okay. That's cool.
Let's go in because it's interesting. I'll just bring you in here.
Oh, it smells great.
You're on your way? Great to see you, Jet. Text me whatever that is. Appreciate you.
Okay, so you came here at 12.
Came here at 12.
Okay, so what's your take on the town?
It's an odd one, that's certain.
It's an odd one, for sure. How so?
I mean, it's very quiet. You know, there's a lot of affluence here, sort of in a desert of underserved communities surrounding it. The reservations and, for instance, Espanola.
Sure. Espanola, I haven't been there in a long time, but I heard it got a little worse with the crime.
Well,
There's a little bit of that, mostly drug use.
Oh, yeah. So it's just every town you have, it's sort of like Arizona too in that sense where every town has a totally different identity.
Oh, there's a bit of that in New Mexico, for sure.
Right, like here in Espanola are two different worlds.
Absolutely.
You're an employee here.
Gerald, yeah.
What's your take on the town overall?
Well, you know, I was born here, so it's an interesting one.
You were born here.
Oh, yeah.
And you're not a scientist, or are you?
Not a scientist. No, first one 3 generations to not work at the lab, so.
Okay, so are you guys a rare breed?
Kinda, yeah. There's a lot of intelligent people who work at the lab. They have intelligent kids, and then those kids get a lot of opportunities outside the town, so a lot of them end up leaving.
Okay, they go on to cities and whatnot.
Yep.
Okay, so that dynamic here is interesting, huh, between scientists and non-scientists.
So,
But everyone gets along for the most part,
for
or?
the most part, yeah.
Okay.
You do see some resentment, you know, back in the day, the school sports teams used a school bus that didn't have the school district name on the side, because that'd be a target for graffiti down off the hill, like.
Oh, okay, yeah. Just rivalry stuff?
Rivalry stuff, yep.
Okay. You gonna stay?
I think so, yeah. So I live with my grandfather right now, so.
Oh, nice.
Yep, help take care of him and all that, so. We also have, you know, the aging population and those sets of issues.
It's aging.
Oh, yeah. So we got a bunch of young people coming in to work at the lab, and then a lot of older people who retired from working at the lab.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Rio.
He wants to eat it. Just thinks it's a cat.
It's called a dead cat.
It is.
but
It's
it
a dead
doesn't
kitty.
mean
It's a
actually
dead
made out of
kitty.
dead cat.
That's why they named it that. All right. Well, take care.
Oh, no worries.
Thanks,
no
man.
worries. Indeed.
All the best. See you, Gerald. Okay, we got your gang here,
we
right?
need the.
This is Leslie from Los Alamos.
Born
She
and
is
raised.
Born and raised.
the original Los
Born and
Alamosian.
Yeah.
Is that what you call yourselves?
Hilltoppers.
And Liz is your better half, obviously. Your name, sir?
I'm Gordon.
Gordon. All right. So we got the full gang here.
The full gang here.
So I'm feeling a lot of knowledge coming through.
Yes, and at least the two of us were in Historical Society and History Museum and all of that, and you've always been in the middle of it.
And I'm not going to lie, not the most impressive building you've ever seen,
No,
but
it's
what's
not.
going on here?
Well, it is now the Performing Arts Center, but it's one of the few buildings that remain that were actually built during the Manhattan Project. It's a very strange place to grow up, but of course when you're young you don't recognize that it's so strange. You know, it's just where we live.
Okay, why was it strange?
Well, imagine, do you know Big Bang Theory?
Sure.
It's like living in Big Bang Theory times 100. So you walk down the street and there are physicists that are talking to themselves, or they've got twitches, or they've got, you know, and we just that's normal for us. You know, when you take the highest per capita PhDs in the world and you put them all together on the little remote little isolated mountaintop, it's a really strange place to grow up.
Yeah, I read 17.5% of the residents have their PhD here.
That sounds about right, yeah.
Highest in the country.
Highest in the world, I
In the
believe,
world.
yes.
Okay, yeah.
At least it used to be. I believe it still is.
Okay, so you're in this, I mean, it wasn't artificial to you, but if you're to identify it from like looking at the country, it's a bit isolated, artificial.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's very safe. And so you grow up here, you don't really recognize some of the problems of the world because we're safe and we're isolated and we're well off. You know, everybody up here is working, and back then especially. So it was a different kind of place to grow up. And we, our fun was hiking and biking and skiing, and the high schoolers, we used to go up, not me personally, but we used to go up into the mountains and party, you know.
Oh, nice.
And
you didn't do that.
I didn't. I never did that.
No?
But coming out of the mountains, you know, I swear there's angels protecting, because they're windy roads, and nobody ever got hurt coming out of those mountains after drinking.
Are there like a lot of cameras in this town? A lot of security because of the lab?
There's a lot of security. I wouldn't bet that there's any more cameras here than in any other little town, except for the laboratory facilities. That building right there is a big laboratory facility. So
right there is one too.
Central Park
so they're all over the place.
They're all over the place. Yeah.
I didn't even know.
And to me, that's one of the reasons why it's so hard for businesses to survive up here, is because the laboratory is renting prime real estate downtown, and it makes it hard for businesses to survive.
So overall, the income's good here.
Mm-hmm.
Crime is low.
Correct.
And when you go to other parts of New Mexico, it's got to be like going to another country.
It is. It is.
Right.
And the laboratory, ever since basically when it started, provides a ton of the financial wealth to northern New Mexico. So if you were to take the laboratory away, northern New Mexico would fall apart, I think.
Like the tax revenue would get hurt.
And jobs
people.
and you know, people that drive up here from northern New Mexico for jobs, and then they get paid and go spend
Right,
money.
because there's a lot to keep
Economic
these places.
impact,
There's
that's
a
what
lot
I'm
to keep
trying
these
to say.
places going.
Hey,
Okay.
we're in luck.
We're in luck?
Public Works is here. She's not born and grew up here.
Okay.
She can tell you what it's like to come to this town where.
Yeah, what's it like?
What's it like coming here?
Yeah.
Might be possible to go inside.
I could show you the urinal.
Yeah,
There's nothing more I want to see. Let's do it. Let's do it. I love urinals.
The trough urinal, that's what you want to see.
So that's what this place is famous for, the trough urinal, where
Yes.
where Oppenheimer peed and everyone else
May have.
may have.
Yeah, he may have.
He had a small bladder, I heard, rumor
yes,
says.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's check it out.
Oppenheimer
those are the
was
type
the
of things.
star of the very first play that was presented up here,
Yes.
Arsenic and Old Lace. Is that the
Yep.
name of it? And he played the dead guy.
Yeah.
So that's the corpse.
No
so that's,
lines. He didn't have
no
any
no
lines,
lines.
yeah.
So a couple other laboratory directors have done that since. So it's kind of a cool little tradition to know about.
Yeah.
How'd you end up out here?
I lived in Santa Fe for about 18 years. I have a 16-year-old daughter. When she started middle school, or when she was going to start middle school, that was during pandemic. I could not find a good school that had a system, you know, where are we on Zoom? Are we in person? What are we doing? So I always knew that schools here were really good. So we came here for school. So yeah, so
you're a good mom, basically.
yeah. Aw, thank you for saying
You
that.
care about your.
Yeah.
If you can get them in a good school district, then you got it, right?
Yeah,
I mean, if
exactly,
you have the choice.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So that's why we came here.
Okay.
But so here's the.
So you came here not for the lab, but
Not
just
the
for the
lab,
schools for your
just
daughter.
For the schools, yes.
Because these are some of the best in New Mexico.
Yeah. Schools up here, we have, excuse the construction dust
Okay.
and debris.
But this is the sight to be
infamous
seen.
urinal. Yes, the trough urinal. I'm assuming that maybe a couple people used it at one time back then at a time.
Right. So
Yeah.
literally, let me give you the camera here.
Yeah.
So this is actually something people get excited about in town.
Yes, we can't remove
Look
it.
at Liz is coming in.
This is a sign that was up here. I think it's been removed.
Okay.
by construction.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yes, so that's
there's some serious fandom.
There is, yes.
Big
yes. Scientists are big here, and scientists are In my opinion, they're so humble. I thought that I was going to come over here with, big heads, but I have never heard anyone say, I am Dr. So-and-so. They're all PhDs, but you do not hear people say that I am Dr. So-and-so. They all use their first name, not even their last name. That's how humble they are.
So you feel like it's a totally different New Mexico up here?
It is. It's not even New Mexico. In my opinion, I don't think it's New Mexico. So when I came here, I felt like I was in a college town, in a small college town. So to me, that's what this town has a feel for. One university town, like tiny little town. You have these professors, so you have these scientists. They know what they're doing, and they bring in postdocs, so they bring in young blood, and they bring life to the community.
Okay, and then your daughter's around a lot of these kids that I'm sure are challenging her. They're smart kids.
They're smart. So I used to think my daughter was smart until I met some of these kids. They're super smart. So the schools, the reason we have good schools is because the scientists have good standards for their kids, right? They want their kids to get good education and be exposed to program. I have never seen extracurricular programs that are supported by our public school systems here. I've never seen anything like that
what's an
anywhere
example?
else. We have really good band. There's a jazz program that you hear these 7th, 8th, 9th graders play jazz, and I mean, they're amazing. Everything here is just top notch. Robotics, yeah, robotics is a big thing. Kids are really into that. We even have esports. We have.
What are esports?
So esports is if your kid is not athletic and they like to sit in front of a computer and play computer games, that's esports. It's electronic sports.
I don't know if I'm going with that. Electronic sports?
Yes, yes.
We have it all.
So, yeah, all jokes aside, I feel like, it's a great community. It's secure, and we have more police here than anywhere else, more police presence. So, people don't come up here. Nobody will come up here. It's a cul-de-sac. They know that they're going to get in trouble. It's one way in, one way out. So nobody will come out here to rob anybody. If they do, there are so many cameras here that they will, get caught in 2 seconds. I feel very secure, like being a female and raising a 16-year-old female here, I feel very secure. Like everything is very secure here. Karen has raised 2 kids here.
One born here.
And one went to college, and the other one is on his way to college.
No, both of them are in college.
He's gone also, okay.
So ask me a question. Yeah.
Okay, so what's it like? You're married to a guy at the lab. There are secrets he can't tell you. Right?
Oh, that's interesting because he starts talking about it and it gives you half the story, so you don't know what's going on. And then you're like, oh, it's on the internet. You can find it in Wikipedia, so it's really not a secret. And then I'm like, but yeah, it's
you get half details.
You get half details.
Which makes you want to know more.
Absolutely. But honestly, I won't understand it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's okay. We talk a little bit, and he starts talking about something, his new job, and I'm like, my job is much more, I can just talk to you because you know what a curb is. You know what a concrete is. And I can talk to you about that, and you understand it because you see it as a human being. Mm. But I don't see your atoms.
What's he doing? What's his profession?
He's a quantum physicist, so he came here because he was super cooling atoms with lasers and magnetic fields and optics. But now he's into, because the way the funding moves around, he's into looking at materials that deal with nuclear fuels. Our lab is rotating a little bit more, less on basic research, science fundamental research, into more nuclear weapon type of industry, which has always been, but there's a little less basic science.
Is this the biggest lab in the country for that type of science?
Research science?
Yeah.
Probably used to be, but it's definitely lots of scientists are leaving or not getting funded.
Okay.
The basic science research.
Okay.
It really does ebb and flow.
Yeah, I think but they're in partnerships with the Livermore, Berkeley, Argonne, Oak Ridge.
Sandia.
Yeah, Sandia, of course Sandia, but Oak Ridge, they work.
Oak Ridge is Tennessee?
Yes, and then the Savannah River. So there's definitely communications, and then Idaho Labs.
Okay.
And then there's one in Washington? Yeah. Hanover.
Hanford.
Hanford, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, the country doesn't know anything about here. No. That's for sure. Do you notice that when you travel out off the island?
Yes.
Not as much as before. So now
The Oppenheimer movie.
when I travel,
It helped.
people say, well, where are you from? Did you see Oppenheimer? Yes, that's where I'm from.
And you were part of the film.
Well, I was the site rep for all these places.
You nailed it.
Oh, it was.
That's
it
a
was
great film.
Honor of a
It's-
lifetime.
I want you to meet Sylvan.
How you doing?
Hi.
Peter, nice to meet you.
Sylvan grew up on Bathtub Row.
Sylvan?
Sylvan grew up here.
No, I didn't. Well, I had family that lived on Bathtub.
Oh, okay. You have serious OG status, or however you want to say it, as in, who's your family?
So I, two of the early families, the Argos and the Potters, so both my parents were born and raised here.
Okay.
And one set of grandparents came in '43 to work with Teller as two of his 5 grad students. So my grandmother, Mary Argo, and then my grandfather, Harold Argo, were both nuclear physicists that worked in those early days. And so, yeah, my grandmother actually was the main one that was recruited, and my grandpa joked that he got to come along for the ride. I heard a lot through my grandfather, and he ended up working later on GPS systems and getting involved in other things with the laboratory. And then, yeah, my uncle worked with the lab, so lived on Bathtub Row. And my grandmother on my mom's side was a school teacher here for many years, so she was well known and well loved.
You guys all look so healthy up here.
Yeah.
Is it the water, the air, the nuclear fissile material?
2 years in a row, USA Today named us the healthiest community in the country.
Well,
The third year,
I'm
we
gonna
were
back
second.
it.
It's a Manhattan Project era dormitory. So most of the buildings that were built during the Manhattan Project were temporary and they were torn down. This is one of the few remaining. So the little theater is one, and then this is
Okay,
another
one of the original buildings.
This building was used for Oppenheimer, the movie.
Yes.
And it was in all the scenes where they're at a lab, or the scenes where Oppenheimer is putting marbles in the 2 things. That was all done in this building.
Okay, so this is what your average neighborhood looks like here?
They're all very different,
Or they're
actually.
different.
They're wildly different, and
Okay.
actually different eras of the town expanded because there was the changes in growth with the lab and with the town itself.
Right.
So there was actually lottery systems for some of the areas in town, and we expanded out. So some of the earlier families got into a lottery system to get their own plot of land and build their houses. So we have eras of town where you can see expansions in the 60s, the 70s.
Now, are these all mostly scientists, people working at the lab that live out here, or?
Well, I live 1 block.
Okay.
Yeah, great mixture.
And there are neighborhoods in town that are $1 million homes also.
Okay, what is a home around here roughly, do you think?
Housing prices have skyrocketed
Skyrocketed.
because of demand for homes as well.
There is one for sale right now. If you'd like to purchase a house here, right over here on the next block, there's one for sale, and I think it's $660,000.
Okay, so something like this, 660,000?
That one's probably even more because it has an upper level.
Yeah.
Okay.
We then had a lot of rebuilding after the fire. So after the Cerro Grande fire in 2000, half the town burned and a lot of homes were lost, and people bought up plots together and rebuilt. And so a lot of the neighborhoods really shifted and changed after 2000 as well.
Okay.
And so there was new build for the first time
Should we
in
see
all
if
those
Rita's home?
decades.
You can knock on Rita's door.
What's Rita up to?
Rita's 96 years old. She's my
Oh.
next door neighbor. She's the one who
Born
won't
here?
tell you, talk about the lab.
Worked in Fuller Lodge as a
Oh, that's the one. Okay, that's the Rita. Great. So I read online, I was digging deep on the town. If you buy a home here, be careful because there might have been a lab worker who thinks they know construction and electronics and plumbing. They might have said, I'm just going to do it myself. And that job might not be amazing.
There are some really fun and creatively built homes.
Yes,
in this
modified
town.
homes. These houses were built by
Yeah.
the Atomic Energy Commission.
Let me just see if Rita's home. You guys stay here.
Okay.
Can I add something? So,
Please.
The lady from Paxac, I used to work with her a little bit. Anyway, she talked about our police force. We do have a very large police force, and we have a really big emergency response team that are all very, very specially trained. They're highly trained
Right.
because of the things they may have to deal with coming from the laboratory.
Okay,
An
so-
accident at the laboratory that's nuclear or chemical or something else, they are trained on how to handle those kinds of emergencies.
So you guys
So
are
they're highly trained.
you're prepared for the worst, which means you have a lot of people here ready.
Correct.
which
And facilities.
benefits you living
Correct.
here.
Correct. Yeah.
It's the type of town you can let your kids go wherever, right? Ride around
Absolutely.
and just free range it.
It's very family friendly. I have an 8-year-old, and we have kids jumping the fences between houses, riding bikes around. I mean, looking
Gotta
forward
be
to
careful of the
trick-or-treating.
bears.
So you can come in. Feel free to edit. So
Rita, you're nice to meet you, Peter.
Nice to meet you. Oh, we have a Peter.
I'm Peter.
Our son is Peter.
My brother's Peter.
Great
Peter.
name.
Let me fix
Good
it.
job on that one.
Okay.
So Rita
Rita, R-I-T-A.
Rita.
is 96. Is that right?
That's right. I think 1929.
She's
Is that
96.
it?
Yeah. She got on a bus.
Yeah, I came in a bus and came to Los Alamos. I don't remember, a long time ago.
You worked
at the lodge.
She worked at the
I
lodge
worked at the
as a
lodge,
hostess.
At the lodge, a hostess.
So, Rita, you moved here in what year?
Do you remember, Bernadette?
It was 1945.
No, 1945. Wow. I've been here forever, my whole life. Come on in, sit down.
Here is a little article about Rita.
Oh, me.
When she was a delegation,
Oh, that's great.
she was the translator. She went with a delegation.
Yeah.
And this is
That's when I was young.
this is the Inter-American Symposium on the Peaceful Application of Nuclear Energy, 1957.
Yeah, I was there because of I could speak Spanish and English. It was a perfect job for me.
You knew a lot of the scientists then, right?
I knew all of them.
All of them.
I knew all of them because I was in my teens and I used to work at the library. The library, and people would go over there. So I met Dr. Ulam, all of them.
Did you know Oppenheimer?
Sure. I knew all of them because I was, I think I was like a waitress or something there. And of course, everybody went there and I met all of them and just met everybody,
Was it exciting?
Well, I didn't realize that they were that important, right?
You didn't realize how important they
How
were.
important they were, but I treated all of them the same. They went into the lodge and I helped them.
There you are, Rita.
Yeah, that's when I was young. That's when I was young.
It's like
Now I'm
yesterday,
very
huh?
old. And then, of course, later on, I worked at the lab with important jobs,
She went to the Geneva conference.
Just little things.
Yeah, just
As a
little things.
translator.
I went to the
Yeah.
Geneva conference.
She was- yeah.
Can I give you all something to eat or drink?
No, you're such a
Thank you.
hostess.
Sometime when you have more time to.
Okay, thank you, Rita.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye-bye, thank you.
Rita didn't understand at the time how significant it was to be here. And I think that goes back to what a comment made earlier about how our scientists that were and are still here are just very humble. We don't call them Dr. Smith or, they're just Bob. And you don't understand the significant things that are happening here when you live here.
But and also the scientists doing things that we don't know about now, which maybe we will down the road, they sort of have to stay low, right?
Correct,
That's part of the job description.
Correct.
If they're doing something innovative by creating an H-bomb in those
Right,
times,
right.
what's the next thing?
Probably
Right.
AI. We're probably big into AI.
I would
I
say
don't
it's
know.
not if they're doing something, they are doing
They are
something.
Yeah,
doing it.
so
They are doing
there's a lot of AI stuff
Probably
going on
AI,
up here.
But a lot of nuclear stockpile stewardship. That is the main function of the laboratory. So if they're working on AI, it is in relation to how AI can help with their nuclear stockpile stewardship program. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But with that comes, the things that they'll learn about AI in that process can be used elsewhere also.
This is your main street.
This is our main,
This is it.
this is it, Central Avenue. This quote is kind of appropriate for someone doing a video.
As long as men are free to ask what they must, free to say what they think, free to think what they will, freedom can never be lost and science can never regress. J. Robert Oppenheimer. It's a great one. So this is it. This is the beating heart right
This is
here.
it.
This is the center point with the beautiful USPS. Love it. How they made them back in the day. Well, this was made in the 40s probably, right?
This was made right after the war.
Yeah, 48. There we go. When they had all this cool, intricate detail. And there's so much craft put into these places.
Yeah.
Actually, not as grand inside, but still cool.
Yeah.
We're never going to see art in buildings like this anymore. You know, it's just cost too much.
Yeah, it's
You know, it's sad. I love that
but
stuff.
art is so important
Fact.
to your identity. So it's important that we not forget art.
Okay, so this is a nice zone over here. What, a park area?
This is the pond, and
This is where the lab was.
the lab used to be around this pond. After the war, in about the 1960s, they tore all the buildings down, moved some of the buildings to other places, and moved the lab across to the other mesa. So the laboratory used to be right here. And for safety, security, they decided they would move it onto another mesa so that we could separate and have the town on one mesa, the laboratory in another location.
Okay, and on those mountains over there is a ski resort, right?
Yes. We're going to go down this road. Housing's always been a problem here. Right now we're looking at more dense housing possibilities, and this road is where some of our new density housing is being built.
So I haven't seen many younger people today, but that's because they're working, is that correct?
That's correct.
They were processing plutonium on this site in probably the late 40s, early 50s.
TA 21 cleanup project. Do you guys worry about the ecology, or you don't think about it? You're just like,
I think
it is what it is.
Part, the lab has taken it very seriously. The cleanup process has been ongoing, but the lab really has. It's got several interesting interests, which one is the ancestral Pueblo ruins.
Okay.
That they're being very careful about not disturbing. When they build a new building, they bring in the archaeologists to survey the site. And then ecologically, they're working very hard to make sure that we are good neighbors to the Pueblo that's downstream from us and to the communities that are downstream, Santa Fe.
Actually, the bomb wasn't even tested here, was it?
No.
Where was it tested?
200 miles south of here.
Okay.
80 miles north of here and another 300 miles south of here.
Yeah.
We've actually tested 3 nuclear devices in New Mexico. We call them devices, not bombs.
Devices.
Is that just a nice euphemism?
Well,
or
a
what?
bomb is a weaponized.
Weapon.
Oh, okay.
If it's just a test, it's not considered a bomb.
Those are some of the nicer houses,
There
right?
are houses over there, yes.
What do you think a home like one of those goes for?
I was going to say 800.
$1 million.
Okay. So Gordon, what were you saying about the tunnels?
Oh, yeah, so when we talk about tunnels in Los Alamos, there are 2 different kinds.
Mm-hmm.
One, back in the 1960s, Los Alamos became a model town for civil defense.
Right.
And so there was a time when every resident in this town had a designated shelter spot. And those are some of those tunnels.
So they all had a bunker, basically.
Everyone had a place, yes,
They had a
to
location.
go in case of nuclear attack.
So someone living in this part of town, they had a designated bunker
Yes.
where X amount of people would go.
Yes. They'd be largely in that shopping center where we were.
Okay.
Probably. That's a guess. I've never been in any of these tunnels. The other tunnels that we have, underneath that McDonald's,
Yeah.
actually underneath where that McDonald's used to be, that McDonald's is in a new location, but where it used to be, there's a tunnel that comes in from the bottom of the mesa underneath. And at one time it had the entire nuclear arsenal of the United States in it.
But no longer.
No longer.
What's in there now?
It's cleaned out. There's actually occasional attempts to say, we ought to make this into a museum. Because apparently it's quite interesting inside. But it has the shelving that the nuclear weapons used to be stacked on.
So definitely a target. That's why you had the bunkers, obviously?
Yes.
So the Soviets knew.
The Soviets knew where we were. Right after the bombings of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, Los Alamos became publicly known.
Yeah.
Not publicly accessible, but publicly known.
All right, guys, another part of town. Houses a little more spaced out from one another. The canyon feel is very cool here. And this is what I find very interesting here. I thought strong science, everyone's in the lab, not many churches, but I've seen a lot of churches.
A lot of churches. I'm not sure how many, but there are a lot of churches in town.
So square that for me, because I would have thought the science types are all Big Bang types.
We're very curious people. So I think everyone is interested and curious and wants to know more.
This came from Santa Fe.
Yes.
And they just trucked it up the mountain, broke it down,
Yep.
built.
One of the last things General Groves did was sign the orders to move this chapel to give the first church in Los Alamos, to give us a church. It's called the United Church because it's several denominations working together. Again, it's this collaborative nature we have here in Los Alamos. United Church is part of that. It's several different denominations that work together to operate the United Church. Of course, we have some of the traditional stained glass, stories from the Bible, religious icons, but then we also have these, which are the solar system, the galaxy, and even right down here is a little black hole.
So there's a high church attendance here?
High church attendance.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of those you never know until you go experiences. I wouldn't have thought that in a million years, to be honest.
Well, I think there's this perception people have that science is opposite of religion. And I think the more you learn, the more there is to know, and the more unknowns there are. And so maybe that translates to the mysterious and a higher power.
Okay, I'm trying to get into the scientist's perspective, and I'm very far from it. Science is a constant discovery, constant iteration. Mm-hmm. Testing, iterate, right? Isn't that the process? Mm-hmm. Where religion is fixed for the most part. These 10 commandments are nailed down, right?
Yes.
There's a book. Here's the manual to live by.
I think the idea, though, is there's so much mysterious in the universe. Is there a higher power? A religious take on the world, a spirituality that's different than the physical world.
Okay, that helps, but I'm still thinking Big Bang conflicts with this story.
So the scientists here obviously have a different opinion, right?
Right.
There is the literal Big Bang and the idea that it was created in a day, and first day there was, but I think the scientists here maybe have a slightly different opinion. Maybe the timeline isn't our length of a day. Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to get out and see some of these neighborhoods, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so that's the nature center.
This is the nature center. This town really values trails and outdoor spaces, and we have trails in all the canyons around Los Alamos. This is our swimming pool. People come here to train. It's high altitude. Every once in a while, groups will come and train to do some high altitude swimming. This is the Catholic Church. Strong group here. This Hilltoppers, that's our local high school. They used to be called the Bombers. They changed their name to the Hilltoppers.
The Bombers, it was called the Bombers.
In the 50s, when the word atomic was popular. I'm not sure when they changed to
It's sort of
Hilltoppers,
funny,
but
actually.
now it's Hilltoppers. And people will say, what's a Hilltopper? Someone who lives at the top of the hill, I guess. This is another older neighborhood.
So the older neighborhoods, smaller homes, right?
Smaller homes. These are the tiny homes.
You'll see some really small homes.
And that's just the way we lived back then, huh?
See how tiny they are?
Yeah. You would have a family in there.
Yes.
Yes.
Multiple kids.
In the
Simple.
50s, people had lots of babies.
One bathroom.
One bathroom, absolutely. One bathroom.
They're all the same.
All
so
the same.
just a uniform design here and went up quick.
Yeah.
Do you both know the wages in the lab, like the average starting and the average like senior level, whatever?
I don't really.
I'm thinking that on a technical level, they're probably starting in the 50s or 60s, but they go up into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Median household income is $143,000.
Right. U.S. average, I believe, is 72 or 76,000.
Yeah, so it's half of that. And this says that one of the highest in New Mexico. I have little doubt that it's the
highest in New Mexico, yeah. So these are all the newer.
Okay, so these are more senior level employees making good money.
These people are making good money. Look at these.
Pretty snooty up here.
Does the town get snooty at all?
It's not.
I don't think so.
Not really, no.
There's no private schools. There's no, ooh, watch these kids in the middle of the road.
He's like, no, you watch out for me.
All right.
Yeah.
So if you love science and you love the outdoors, this is your
the place
paradise.
for you.
To the left of the door, you can see the utility room.
Okay.
This is because the house was managed by the Atomic Energy Commission, and the maintenance people had to be able to get to the furnace and the water heater
Without going in the house.
without going in the house.
Oh, that is so cool.
And so our house had a carport, and the utility room is in the carport. It's now inside the garage.
Yep.
But in those days, it was in the carport, so that, once again, if your furnace went out or your water heater burst, the Atomic Energy Commission could come in
And fix
do
it.
the work without going into your house.
Company housing.
The group 17s, we live in a group 16. There was a student who came here to work at the lab for the summer, and he had parked in a parking lot and got a ticket for improper parking because the officer apparently thought he had parked crooked, and he didn't think so. So he took a picture of it and he published it, and he got in very hot water for having taken a picture on lab property that showed the parking stripe and the side of his car.
So we're trying to be careful not to get you in trouble with your camera. We don't want you to, have your camera taken away.
Los Alamos prison.
That's right.
Do you guys have a jail up here?
We do have a jail.
All right.
Oh, hi, dear.
Oh, wow.
They're a little problem. These are so tame. They're actually a problem.
Yeah.
They just passed a ordinance that you're not to feed the wildlife. Right here is one of the homestead houses that is in its original location. And it's now part of the stables. So we have a group of people who love horses, and you can buy a little lot here to have your horses. So each lot is owned by a different person.
They're just riding their horses up in the mountains? What an interesting place.
They do have a rodeo every year.
Whole different culture. It's very interesting.
Well, Liz, thank you. That was a very eye-opening tour, Liz.
You are welcome. It was great to have you here.
You have a nice thing going on up here for sure.
Interesting people.
Very unique. Thank you. No, I appreciate it. All right, guys, one thing I forgot to mention, it was said off camera today. The lab does randomized drug testing for its employees. Therefore, drug usage for adults is very low in Los Alamos. Add on low crime, good schooling, and a safe environment. I get it. This place is quite nice. Could be looked at as quiet and boring, but also could be looked at as a nice, safe, well put together community to raise your family. Very cool though, very interesting. And I know being a tourist is always different than living somewhere. All right, guys, this is part of a greater New Mexico series. Go to different parts of the states, get different perspectives. Some of those videos are around here. Thanks for coming along on that journey. Until the next one.